Hello everybody and welcome back to another blind commentary of Parasyte the Maxim. Episode 2 as per usual as the outro. Yes, it's an interesting series to say the least. It's at the very least starting with a quite grotesque science to it and quite some alien designs to it and quite a pretty good mystery to it as well. These are all features I like. And I wish to see more of them. Of course, I wish the show to go into a more of a horror direction as well, but that's unlikely considering how much action it already had. And from what I remember, it will have more, and action usually downplays horror quite a bit. But it can be gory, it can be disgusting, and that's gonna be fine enough. Let's just get on with the series. That's a really good brutal start for this. Yeah. Yeah, now it's rather obvious that that is another parasite there. I'm gonna call them parasites, no matter what. So, that was freaking brutal, because that would have blown his, brains out, as you saw, his head just I love the visual details that they put in there, but the fact that his head really just caved in and his skull probably was busted in there, and this inhumane twisting that he's doing right now, it's not horror, but it's damn right horrifying. It looks nasty, and that's good. Okay. So, if this goes into a Parasite of the Week format, that's a pretty good way to establish the antagonist of this episode. That was pretty well done, I must say. Okay. That's rather immature, but we'll see. I got quite a weird feeling about this here. If I do remember, that Parasyte actually forced him to grow, or his body to grow stronger and more physically capable, so I get this feeling that he's just gonna jump and dunk from the middle of well, not exactly the middle. Actually, from the looks of it, it looks like it's just about the third point. Oh, that's a pretty good lane-up nonetheless. Oh wow, that's I mean, without a running start, that's gonna be a pretty good dunk. We'll see. Or I suppose the more realistic option. Realistic. I hope I'm not gonna have to censor that. Oh my god. Oh, goodness gracious, that came out of nowhere. Okay. Oh my goodness, okay, this high school setting actually has a pretty bad downside to it, which is that it highlights how honestly flat the characters are, or how stereotypical they are. But I suppose since that's not going to be if that's not going to be the focus of the show, that's not going to be too bad. I hope. Also, I hope I don't have to censor anything, because jeez, that's okay. Just the characters do seem rather stereotypical, which is unfortunate. But at the very least, we do have Mickey, who is quite a different sort of creature. So that's that, of course. And if the show doesn't focus on the characters, well, then it's unimportant to focus on the characters, you know. So hopefully that's the direction the show will go in. So I don't have to get annoyed. Fight me. Oh, that's rather casual.
バカ。それは自分よりバカな相手に使うべき言葉だ。
That's okay. That's a lovely little comment from Mickey there that I love. I really do like that. He's just like, that's something you call someone who is less intelligent than you, implying that he is a bit more intelligent than Izumi. So Shinichi. That's just, I like that little insinuation there that, well, that Mickey knows that he is quite the smart one. Although I suppose if his entire existence is to absorb information and devour the human race, yeah, I suppose he would be ingrained with innate intelligence. So,
安心しろ。
I don't know how I feel about the show being so immature to contrast with the horror, or the gore. It can be effective, but it is goddamn immature. But it is noteworthy, for better or for worse. Okay. Oh my god!
冷たい新一。うるさい。ちゃんと洗わないとだ。
That is a rather interesting notion. Now, I don't know whether that will come into play later on or not, but the fact that they are specializing in cannibalism is an interesting thing at the very least. I certainly see some potential in that being important, and especially since that might mean that they might literally be cannibalizing themselves by eating other parasites. That could be really quite interesting. Now, I have no idea whether the show is going to go in that direction or not. Damn, it's good that I don't remember, but I wonder, like, the fact that they are innately cannibalistic could be a really cool detail. I just wonder how. There's some potential there.
何を考えている?
このまま黙ってていいのかな?
Well, as I was hoping for the show to go into a more horror style, it goes and throws this into the picture. Yeah, Mickey is a parasite. That's a good thing to keep in mind, even though they are being rather conversational, shall we say. They are talking quite a bit with one another. Mickey is still a parasite, and he really can kill Shinichi at any time, so that's a rather important detail to keep in mind, I suppose. And this is a really good reminder of that. The fact that the parasites really do seem to be a predator species is also quite a dark thing to think about. It's a dark concept to keep in mind that they are a predator species in consideration of us, so they are basically superior than humans. In a way, although clearly they are still a parasite species, which is rather interesting to see. A parasite that is superior to a host in the evolutionary tree. Although it's not technically, biology is interesting. Let's just continue. I do appreciate the horror here.
犬のようにはいかないと思うがな。
It is pretty good that Mickey is acting out as a sense of reason here as well. Even though humans are innately curious, it is good to have, you know, a sense of self-preservation. And that is actually the role of Mickey here, which is an interesting way to conceptualize the parasite host concept here, but it certainly is, well, good to have a semi-symbiotic relationship between the two of them. I mean, in concept, even though it is, these parasites are clearly, well, parasites as they are named. They are, well, parasitic creatures. It's not a symbiotic relationship between them, the two of them. So it is a really good thing to have a semi-symbiotic relationship be the focus of the story here at the very least. It's just goddamn, I just really do like biology in these kinds of situations, because it does have some interesting parallels to the evolution of some species, so let's continue.
ここなら人に見られないだろう。
どうだ、指定席を作ってやったぞ。これで信じたか。
Ooh, that is a freaking great deal. This is a pretty freaking good temptation here for Miggy to switch over to a different body, potentially a completely parasite body. Even though it would have two parasites in it, that would be the difficult question here to answer, how much damage that would cause. This is quite an interesting proposition here. Also, the show really isn't going for any low tension moments here, which is rather crucial for pacing in a horror series. Although it has those interlaced static moments of comedy in it. But instead it is going for just, well, straight to the action, which is an interesting choice, I must say. Let's continue and see how this goes. It's good to have a logical agent in the series, and, well, Miggy is currently... It's good to have such an uncertain factor in the story, or rather evident, like really a clear factor. Like, Miggy is only working for self-preservation. But that's good. It's good to have a clear motive, because that allows for us to, well, that allows for most of his actions to be logical, even if they might be suddenly surprising, but they clearly do have a logic behind them. That's just good, because otherwise they would seem, out of the left field. But it's a good way to have a logical progression. We'll see how this goes in the future, though. A parasitic relationship is rather interesting to figure out.
疲れたので眠る。
しろよ。
ああ、泉くん。
ただのゲームだっつうのに勝手に邪魔してんじゃねえよ。
生き物はおもちゃじゃないんだ。みんな生きてるんだよ。お前らと同じに。
くっせー、マジかよ。
Really quite corny indeed. Oh my fucking... Okay, so... This is like watching some... The music just makes it so much more silly, honestly. It's like watching a freaking MLG parody. Oh my god! I'm probably gonna be too lazy and edit that, but it just... With the music, it just syncs up to be just like a highlight from just some silly little parody montages, but god damn it. Just... The music choice just seems so dumb there. Oh, but that was actually pretty badass if the music wasn't just off-putting there. Continue. So it's hard to take it seriously now, but yeah. Ooh.
行こうか。
What the hell was with that ending scene? I mean, obviously one of them was Parasyte, but that's a really hard way to end an episode. Okay. Well, there's a lot of things that I do like about the show already, and it does have some horror moments to it, like honest to God kind of good horror to it, but they are unfortunately a bit too sparse for my liking to be actually considered like a full flat out horror series, and instead it's just a thriller action series show. It's not bad in that way, of course, it's a different genre, but it's just that I personally love horror, so it's just a bit of a shame that way. But there are a lot of interesting and good things about this show that are rather unique to it, and those are the introspective moments of the relationship between different biological beings, such as, well, in this situation, a parasite and its host, and how they might create a symbiotic relationship, and that is rather evidently coming into play here, and that's good. That is something that the show is unique to the show, and it can be only examined through an intelligent parasite, and since those don't exist in real life, it's good to have some kind of introspective moment here. But I have a fear for this, because I'm kind of afraid that the show will go into a direction that will be, oh, humanity is so bad and so evil. That's a song we've sang 1,000 times, and it's always quite boring. Well, always is a bit too rough way to say it, but it can be quite boring at most times. And it's honestly a message that is really not entertaining anymore at this point in life. However, I don't think that's going to be the main focus of the series, the evils of humanity. So that's good. I hope. We'll see. That's just the concern I have for the future of the series or the future episodes. The show has an interesting style of interspicing scenes in the places where they disrupt the mood and the pacing, and it's a good way to create horror type of sensations by making things seem rather sudden and unfitting to that kind of storytelling. But it's definitely good. It is horror story type of method. It's good way to tell horror stories, to have abrupt moments in the story, things that don't really feel like they fit there, and that is good. That's really a good way to tell a horror story, but it's just off-putting. But hey, it can be a really, really effective method of storytelling, especially in a horror series, so let's hold out hope for that. I really want to like the series, because I freaking love the whole concept of Parasyte. That's just fantastic like that. It does have really good imagery and animation at moments, but like I said I cracked up in that one moment, I feel like the music direction is, shall we say, mismanaged. Because, god damn it, it just feels mismanaged. Not enough to take me out of the mood, though. It just means that the show isn't really that much feeling like a horror series, if you catch my drift. It might not necessarily be that bad, admittedly, because it does create a unique feeling for the show, but pros and cons, you know. Still, it has a lot of enjoyable moments, but the characters are at the very least one of the really big downsides to it so far, which is that, well, majority of the characters are rather stereotypical. Except for Miggy, because he's an alien. It is an alien. And the other parasites as well, although they are quite a bit too... well, they are very, very shallow. At the very least so far, because they are going to be the antagonist. We don't need any deeper characterization for characters that will die in a few seconds. Yeah. But I really do like the sort of way that the comedy is actually, surprisingly enough, there's a lot of comedy in the show, which is handled via the straight man of Miggy, which is sudden, but it makes sense. It's surprising that the show is kind of funny. For a horror series to be funny is rather off-putting, but it's at the very least refreshing. And Miggy works fantastically as a straight man here. And the unique biology of Miggy, and shall we say its obsession over the human physiology, is also something that is certainly a bit of a unique aspect to comedy that can be, well, it is pretty freaking well utilized here, even if it feels really immature at moments. Yeah. But hey, it's still kind of, it is entertaining at the very least, and it has my attention. I want to say that the pacing is really good, but looking back at it, it just feels like it is bad. But it might not be. I have to see more episodes to fully declare anything about that. Oh my god, I just hope that there won't be any more of those freaking MLG parody moments there, because that's just gonna take me out of the mood. But hey, it's fun enough. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope to in the future have a great day. Stay awesome. Ganmu out. Thanks for watching.